for 1 week, according to them, all right, they're not entirely done with the strike, but of course, they're shutting it down, suspending it more like, for the next 1 week in order to allow for proper negotiations with the federal government. And according to the leadership of organized labor in Nigeria, he did mention the fact that even with this, Nigerian workers shouldn't lose because they will not accept anything too little on top of 60,000. Actually, we hear from reliable sources that labor is considering 100,000 naira as the new minimum wage, even though nothing conclusive in that regard has been put out in the public purview yet. Having said that, gentlemen, a lot of sentiments being expressed on social media, tends to be a bit disappointed that Labour will call off the strike, so quickly. To quote very popular Nigerian activist Aisha Yesufu, it was an effort that achieved nothing. All right, they shouldn't have called off the strike, according to her and many, many more people on social media. What are your thoughts, gentlemen, on Labour actually relaxing, the strike just about after 2 days?
Well, I saw the comment of Aisha Yesufu. I totally disagree with her. Okay. When you are bargaining, it's a win-win situation at the end of the day. And one thing there is that it's not protesting. It's not about shutting down the country or making the country does not exist again, because you are still going to fight with government at every point in time. So Yoruba used to say, that means you don't fight in such a way that as if you are not going to fight with that person again. You always give some room, and that is the thing. And if he thinks they've not achieved, to me they've achieved. In fact, I don't know what is in the mind of Mr. Shokwiton. This is the first one out of from the tenure of Osifo and NLC President Ajero. This is the first time they've even fought for anything.
We felt it.
All the other ones, they are just playing.
We felt this one.
Number one, look at a government team that is saying they will not put anything on 60,000. Now, federal government from the president himself that is not anti-labor and he knows what they are fighting for. He's just looking at the record and the money available. But surely they are going to do beyond 60,000 naira. With that, making sure this kind of government, headed by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to now say that they are ready to move beyond 60,000 naira as minimum wage, they've achieved something. Then two, the national grid, they shut down. Many people did not believe it. In fact, if that particular strike has reached today, NUPENG, they want to join. Exactly. So you will not have fuel, you will not have lights.
That would have been chaotic.
So then another thing again that we need to look into it is this. Some certain people, because there are two sides now. One side is the side of those people are up there, those people in the hands of government, and those ones that are down here. There is one particular leading headline in one of the national dailies today. The money that Nigerian government are using for refreshment.
Yes.
So when you look at that particular money, you will never agree with government that they cannot pay 400,000 as minimum wage. Because there are some money that they waste that is not even useful. So for me, this particular, and another thing again is that according to Osifo, he said they didn't suspend the strike. They relaxed. There is difference between relaxing and suspending. And with the way they are going now, we had it this morning on Good Authority, the Minister of Finance is going to present the template today. So what it means is this: what they ought to have done in three months, that tripartite committee cannot do. Now within 24 hours, then we are achieving results. So if they can go with the daily meeting they're having and they can sit down, Labour that put 400,000 naira. I told Mr. Ajoko that they know those people they are dealing with. Anybody that wants to fight with the devil, you must have a long spoon. So, and that is the thing. So, if at the end of the day, they achieve the 100,000 as minimum wage, I think they've achieved from 30,000 naira. So 100,000 naira they've achieved, but they should not rest on their hours. They should still look for other things to cushion the effect. We want to see what they are going to do on accommodation. We want them what they are going to do on CNG and other things, so that at least not only Nigerian workers. Some people are saying, well, those people that are not working with, look, everybody will not work with governments, but don't let us deceive ourselves. That rough fight will still affect. It may not be as like 100,000, but something is going to top of it, and it's a movement.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Mr. Adegbenro. Just to add to that, the fight by labor is not just for the minimum wage, even though that is the leading point. It's also for the reversal of electricity tariff back to 65 naira for band A customers as against what they pay currently, which is about 206 naira per kilowatt? Per
kilowatt hour.
Yes, hour of electricity. So just to put that out there. Mr. Shopito, do you think Labour did well this time around, or you think they were too quick in calling for the strike?
I think beyond the quickness or otherwise of calling it off, I think the fact that we felt it is significant, you know. And the events, just in this last 24 hour events, have shown us what Labour is capable of achieving. And for me, it then leaves me with a bit of regretful anger towards Joe Ajaero and Felix Osifo, you know, because, you know, they're powerful. So it's unfortunate that they did not seem to understand. It's either they didn't understand the full extent of the power that they wield, or they are too sympathetic in ideology towards government. I think that was their albatross. That was what was holding them back before. If you had listened to Joe Ajaero in particular, you know, in the aftermath of the subsidy removal, you know, and all of those things, you could hear from the things he was saying that he understood. In fact, I think he agreed with the subsidy removal. So for me, I think that maybe the labor movement may have made a bit of a tactical error in electing Joe, because you know, ideology is critical. If you are a unionist and an activist, ideology, you must be social welfareist in orientation. You must be unapologetical. In fact, most labor unions, go and check them, they are almost communists.
Yes.
In their overall tendency, they're almost communists. You know, they don't believe in capitalism. You know, so Joe is too much of a capitalist. With all due respect to him, he's too much of a capitalist, and I think that was the problem.
Perhaps he's a labor leader with empathy.
Yeah, and you can't be a labor leader with empathy. If you are dealing with government, you will fail. And that's what we saw up until yesterday. Now, I told people that the reason that we have seen this is because we're talking of minimum wage now. This one affects them personally, in the most personal way that you can affect a person individually. Their pocket. Because whatever, you know, I mean, come on. Almost 250% increase if they go to 100,000 naira. That's 30,000. From 30,000 you get to 60, then you get to 90, then you cross it. So that's 200 and something percent, right? So imagine the impact of that by the time you do the consequential adjustment, because Joe is not on minimum wage. So by the time you do the consequential adjustment, it's a significant windfall for them personally. And I think maybe, apologies to them if I'm wrong, maybe this is why they were so spirited. Now, there's something you said when you were, you know, going to ask me the question. You introduced the issue of the tariff, electricity tariff. Did you notice that in the agreement that circulated on social media, there was not a pin on the tariff? Nothing. It was just about the minimum wage. So look, what Labour usually does is that when they are fighting for a particular cause, they will pad it. They just pad it with some other issues. But what they're after is what they're after. So government would have told them at that meeting, you see this tariff one, leave it aside. Okay. We're not talking about this, you know. So they will talk about say, if you want us to talk about the minimum wage, forget this tariff matter. We cannot go back on this. And I think that's what we're saying. I don't expect anything to happen on the tariff side. But for me, the instructive part is that Labour must look out for the welfare of the majority. They've not been doing so. The first time that they've chosen to do so, they've acted, and government has responded in 24 hours. Now we have a working template. We have a template for minimum wage. Just imagine that. The president had to intervene. Tinubu doesn't back down for anybody. For him to have backed down, he knows now. If they had allowed the strike to continue to Nupeng. Like Nupeng had already directed their
standby
to be on standby. The letter circulated. So if they had told them effective 100 hours on the 4th of June,
like I said,
and then maybe all the other already airlines were grounded, trains grounded.
Yeah.
Then maybe NURTW now joins. You are finished. So the president knew that he couldn't afford that. And then, like we were saying off air, if NLC had then gone ahead and moved from just strike to protest, then we could really have had a situation on our hands. And the president is very smart. He would not have allowed that. So that's why he responded quickly. So NLC, TUC, well done, but you need to do better.
Okay.
Next time.
All right, well, just to put it out there, it's a suspension of the strike according to the NLC, all right? It doesn't mean that it's Uhuru yet. But then, like my analysts both said, it looks like this time some sort of action is being taken from the top. Like I mentioned earlier, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the finance minister to, within 48 hours, come up with a new minimum template and also what the cost implication of that will be to the financial standing of Nigeria. All right, so it looks like Nigerian workers might be getting results quicker than we expect. All right, let's not forget that there's supposed to be meetings, all right, for the next 5 days, every single day, between Labour and representatives of the government. All right.